Pranams everyone.
Vanam, Daaji, welcome.
Oh, we have Manav today. Huh? Yeah? He's going to ask question.
Hi, Daaji.
Hello, Manav. Since 2 days back, I've been thinking of you a lot. Because I had a chat with one of the Abhiyasi's son in Toronto.
Okay.
He's your replica, and I thought you should meet him. His name is Ishwar. He's also going to college, I think. Yeah, first
Okay.
year. Yeah, okay.
Today there are old-time Abhyasis and youth.
Old time Abhyasis in youth. We have MDS Mama also. Yeah. He's a very old Abhyasi. Whose daughter is this? Kalpana? Who are your parents? Ah, oh, Sai.
No, Namaste, Daaji. Sorry, I was unable to mute. My parents are Kadambari and Sai.
Okay. Because you look so different now. You change your hairstyle and everything, no? Okay.
Yes, Daaji, 2020 needed something new, so yeah.
Nice. Who is that? Shashi Dhawan Ben looks so different here on the Zoom. Huh? What अच्छा. Okay, let's offer our prayers. It's already a few minutes past 9. Okay. Let's begin. That's all. Who is conducting today?
Three youngsters who will be organizing questions on behalf of Abhyasi's master.
Who's that?
Manav and Suresh and Prakriti. These three people will be asking questions first.
Namaste, Daaji.
Namaste, Mano.
So the first question is, what do you think are the core qualities of an Abhyasi?
Well, one fundamental quality that defines an Abhyasi is Abhyas. That's number one. And Babuji used to say about preceptor. Who is a preceptor? He say he's an intense Abhyasi. So it's very basic thing, you see. Abhyasi is the one who really does his Abhyas. Okay? Whatever is prescribed, morning meditation, at a fixed hour, in a specific place, completing the same before sunrise, holding on to that same state and allowing it to expand. And by the evening time, do the cleaning, nighttime prayer. These are fundamental things that qualifies us as Abhyasis. And other things just follows in its sequence. It's okay. Okay. So does it make sense, Manav?
Yes, Daaji.
Okay, let's go to Prakriti.
Namaste, Daji.
Namaste, Ma.
Is it okay to rely on the energy source? If so, how? And know that God has a plan for you when one comes across failures in their life.
Energy source? Huh? What is your first question? Did you ask about energy source?
Yes, is it okay to rely on the energy source? And how do you rely on it when and know that God has a plan for you?
Which energy are you talking about?
Just the spirit, like the outside energy that guides you and that you believe in, or just know that any spiritual energy within or outside.
Well, technically speaking, though we say we're receiving transmission from the source, but the source is already within you. It's one way of saying that we are receiving transmission from the great master, from the source. It's one way of saying it, see. And of course, he is the one who is triggering it. See, without Guru's help, you cannot tap into the source which is within you itself. See, otherwise, why would you get transmission even before you finish your thought? There should have some gap. He's sitting somewhere now, in the brighter world. How would it descend into us, into this dimension? It will take at least some time. But it is instantaneous. Moment you even complete your thought or a desire to have this transmission, from Master. It is already there. That means it's always there with us. Right? So when we offer our prayer, you are triggering, you are invoking their grace, and that triggers this inner switch, and you just get it instantaneously. So, in a way, the spiritual source or the source of the spiritual energy is within us. You don't have to depend on outside source, except for a prayer to the Master with a lot of love. And his work triggers the inner source that is already inside us. And time comes when they say now you stop meditating, means now you don't need much of their help. You have made it. But Babuji says those who were told earlier that now you don't need to practice, they fall eventually. So this dependency should always be there on Guru. It's a catch-22 situation, though the source is within, but the dependency is outside on the Guru. See? Okay. And what was the other question in that?
Master and that energy is changing.
The letter ask.
Prakriti, ask the second part of your question.
Is it okay to sorry and know that God has a plan for you when it comes, and when you come across failures in your life?
The failures are not planned by God. God always wishes that we succeed every time. Even when you want to commit a murder, his energy will flow into you in your arms and you will be able to do it masterfully. It doesn't prevent us. He's always there in our success as well as failure that we ourselves plan. See? You want to study well, his help is there. You want to go for a party, he's going to help you enjoying the party. He's not going to break your legs. Maybe your father might, but not God. See? So God has no plans as such. God has given us the will, the free will. Because he doesn't like to be blamed later on that, oh, look, I planned it and they failed. And we blame God, oh, you failed us. No, we failed ourselves. See, we design our own destiny. The fixed destiny that we all enjoy now, it was created in the past. Something that we did in our past, our karmas. And based on those karmas, we enjoy or we suffer in this life. And what we do now, whatever we execute now, whatever we plan now, will come true later on in life. But life is not that simple. It's very complex. Even though you may plan something really, really good. For example, you want to marry someone you love so much. But your father or your mother will say, no, that family is not good. That family belongs to different caste. And then they will influence your own future. Though you are going on a trajectory based on your love, but parents are able to change your future. You see the example in Ramayana, right? Lord Rama and Lord Sita, they were supposed to have one of the finest, happy life together and rule Ayodhya for another 100 years. On the day when he was to be installed as the king of Ayodhya by his father and Rishi Vashishta, Kai, under the influence of, mantra, she changes the plan and she argues with the Dasharatha that you need to fulfill the promise. And Dasharatha had to fulfill his promise. He had given two promises. One of them was now, as Kaikeyi demanded, to send Lord Rama to the forest and install her own son Bharat as the king. I mean, where was the need for her to ask to send Lord Rama to forest? Was it not enough that her son became the king? But you see how other external agencies also can influence our destiny. So life is too complex, very complex actually. Anyone can change your destiny. But people who are determined, you see, if Raja Dasrath had some sense, if he was not very egoistic, that, oh, I'm Suryavanshi. Ja, क्या बोलते हैं प्राण जाए पर वचन नहीं जाए. I can lose my soul, but I must keep my promise. That is ego speaking. That destroys the future of so many people. Same thing happened with Bhishma. Bhishma said, I take pratigya, Bhishma pratigya, my promise that I will look after Hastinapur. But he was blind. His promise was simply foolish promise. What sort of a promise is that you are seeing that there will be destruction if I fulfill my promise? So where is the protection of Hastinapur? So there is a lot of misunderstanding about promises that we make. Well, in our relationships also, you see, if you find that I made a promise, that doesn't mean you got to fulfill it. If you find somebody is cheating on you, break the relationship. There is nothing like holy promise that you make. So the God doesn't make plans. We need to make plans. And how are we going to make plans? Not by greed, not by desires, but following your heart. Always follow your heart. Take, for example, all your decisions that you made in your past, last year or a month back or 10 years back. Where were you successful and where did you fail? And you will always notice this, that my success was when I made a decision with my heart. And I failed because I did not listen to my heart. Very plain and simple. So why not exercise the same pattern in our life? And I like this book very much and I highly recommend it to old and young, everyone. The book is As a Man Thinketh by the author James Allen. We have it on our Heartfulness website or horticulture website. You can order it. This book is one of the best ones, and Lalaji also seemed to have enjoyed the writings of James Allen during his times. His basic fundamental thing is that you are the maker of your own destiny. God will help you in whatever you decide. But your choice has to be there first. Now, how are you going to make a choice? You see, we have thousands of thoughts. And if you allow these thousands of thoughts to proliferate, the author says these thoughts works like seeds. Seeds germinate. If you don't regulate these seeds in their germination, it creates a forest. You understand? But if you're a good planner, if you're a very good gardener, you will plant specific shrub or a tree in a specific location at a specific time. You will organize your garden and it can become a beautiful garden. So now, when we have tons of ideas and thoughts, how are you going to filter them, see? And focus on essential and discard what is not essential. That's where Sahaj Mark comes into picture. See, James Allen talks about all these things, that the thoughts results in action. Actions results in results. Results, if they are favorable, you are happy. Results, if they are not favorable, you feel sad. It's just a very simple thing to understand. But the author does not explain what precedes thoughts, what is before the thoughts. Babuji Maharaj explains it very nicely. It is because of your samskars. It is because of your tendencies. And once you start refining them little by little with your practice, you are able to fine tune with your thoughts. You're able to be the master of your thoughts. So that's why meditation, see, meditation is not just to realize God, but it is also to make your life a harmonious and happy and peaceful life, like a garden, instead of leading a chaotic life, which most people are used to now. If they don't have chaos these days, they feel, oh, it's boring now. There is nothing happening in my life because it's so peaceful. So we need to organize our life. Moment you sit down, you may feel transmission, you may not feel transmission. It doesn't matter. Not that every day you should feel transmission. Surely it does come though, but it will fine tune our thoughts. Moment we close our eyes, what happens first? Things we missed out, it reminds you, I should do that, isn't it? And once you finish doing what you missed out, the same thought will not repeat again. And once you have done that homework of what you missed out, you're at peace. But if you don't do it, so it remains in your subconscious mind and no new thoughts will come. It will haunt you all the time until you finish it. So the storm of thoughts, why do the storm of thoughts arise in a meditative mind? It's not that they're arising, they're always there. But because of meditation, you become aware of them. See. This awareness is needed so that you can complete them. It's a reminder. And when we do the cleaning, right, some scars gets removed little by little, little by little. And as they are getting removed, our inner nature also keeps changing. Let me give you a small example of the flowers, where they attract honeybees and butterflies and all that, see. Now what happens when honeybees are feeding on sunflowers or tulsi flowers or neem flowers or mustard flowers? They get the essence of neem flower. The color will be different, the taste will be different, the medicinal quality will also be different. Each one has its own essence. Neem has its own essence. Tulsi also has its own essence. Right? We human beings also have different emotions. Based on our emotions, we speak. Based on our emotion, we express our ideas. Based on our emotion, we think and feel. So we have to become controller, not in a dictatorial way, but I must be able to regulate my thoughts, my feelings, my ideas, my emotions. If you want to be the master of your life, if you want nobody else to influence your life except yourself, then you better meditate well. Only meditation can guide us what to do next, and especially what to avoid next. Which company should I be meditating with? In whose company should I be studying? In whose company I should be entertaining myself? Once you're a bad company, God forbid, you'll be influenced. So there are so many things in which we can either be creative or be destructive. The planning is in our hands. You cannot say God planned this destiny for me. Not at all. God created the universe as per certain rules and certain regulations. Those rules and regulations and principles, they remain effective. If you follow those rules and regulations, we are following the nature's principles and we remain happy. You go against those rules, you you don't have the advantage of following the rules. I would not say you'll be punished by God. No, God created these rules. If you don't follow it, you will not have the advantage of following the rules. That's all there is. There is no punisher waiting for you, that you are dead now and let me punish you for a small lie that you made and now you'll be punished for 10,000 years in hell. No, for a small lie, 10,000 years, it doesn't make logical sense. So the destiny, we are the maker of our own destiny. You can ingrain this on your heart. Don't let anybody fool you that God sent you and he is intending to punish you or even reward you. Nothing of that sort. We say, oh, God granted me this. It is out of humility so that we don't become too proud. See, that I did it, I achieved it. No. And that is the moment we become humble and give credits to God. That is in our nature, that is our culture, that is civility. Sabhyata, as they say. But punishment, always know it's yourself, punishing yourself. God will not do that. Parents know it too well. It's so difficult to punish children. And when you, the youngsters, become parents, then too you will know. Even to raise a voice on your children, you might raise, but all night you will be sleepless. You won't be able to sleep. Oh, I shouted at my dear daughter, like that. And you'll spoil your night. And God is more benevolent than any father or any mother. He needs to sleep also well. See? Next question.
Vanam Daaji.
Vanam Suresh.
This question is posed by a 12-year-old child. During the cleaning process, we remove the impressions using our will. As per Newton's law, every action has equal and opposite reaction. So how master or universe absorbs this reaction resulting out of this cleaning process?
My dear boy, the Newton's law of action and reaction doesn't work in the spiritual dimension. There are laws which works only in the physical world. Objects, particles. I push something and until it hits something, it will not be stopped. It continues going until something stops it or bounces it back. These are actions and reaction, which is for sure in the physical one. Of course, it is also sure that all our actions and reactions will definitely be there in the spiritual world, in the emotional world also. But they may not be equal and they may not be opposite. So you are a 12-year-old boy, right? Which grade are you in? Maybe 6th grade. Okay. I cannot give you this example, but suppose you grow up and you like a nice girl and she winkles at you like this. What would you do? You'll be too excited and you might come back home and say, Mommy, 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 this girl winked at me and I'm sleepless. You may not sleep for weeks. Perhaps you might even stop going to school because a girl winked at you. It depends what is going on at that time in your mind. But a small thing like winking an eye creates an earthquake in your heart. Right? So is it a Newton's law? Just a small wink that creates so much of havoc in your heart. No. So this principle does not apply when we do our cleaning also. What happens when we clean? Many people they ask, where does this smoke go that you are smoking it out from your back? What are you smoking out anyway? These are the impressions. And how are these impressions stored in our system? There are vibrations. And how are these vibrations perceived? They are almost with zero energy, but they create impacts. Let me give another example. There's darkness in the room. Right? You're entering a dark room or a dark bathroom. But the moment you turn on the switch, light turns on. Where does the darkness go? Same thing happens with us. When transmission reaches our heart, it's like a light entering the dark room. Where does the darkness go? Where does the sanskar go? They go wherever they have to go. In fact, shadows and all these things, they're unreal. They are there because of the light itself. Can you imagine the shadow without the sunlight or any light? Impossible. You need to make an effort in creating light. But in order to create darkness, do you need to make an effort? You don't need to make an effort in order to create darkness. Let it be, and it will be there until you interfere with it. Now, since you know a little bit of physics, I would like you to imagine the physical universe before it came into being. What was there in this universe? There were no planets, there were no galaxies, no stars, empty space. And since there were no stars, can you say there was absolute darkness? You agree with that, right? So when there is nothing, there is absolute darkness. Now Babuji says there was a stir at the center. And what happened to that stir? That created, what was the consequence of that stir, initial stir in the center? That energy manifested into souls, into stars, into physical things, into spiritual things, into so many other things. We don't even know, we don't even have access to something that is beyond this dimension where we are able to interact at this level. When we talk of brighter world, we fail to understand what is brighter world. And Babuji Maharaj, sometimes he says, I went to the other world. I was busy doing some work. And in my place in the brighter world, another person became in charge and he was discharging his duties. Now it's too complex for us to grasp, to even comprehend. Now, coming back to this idea that when there was nothing, what happens? Now, in order to imagine when there was nothing, let's imagine now where there is something. Bring back this Newton's law again. Now, you take a stone and push it on the road. How far will this stone go? It will again depend on the friction, the force that you apply. Okay. Now, what was there to prevent the initial force in the beginning? Was there any friction there? Was there any road there? There was no friction. So in zero friction, even the smallest push will have infinite impact. That's why the infinite universe. Anyway, coming back to this idea of again samskars, how do we form samskars? They're not physical things. Suppose I shout at you. You will have certain feelings in your heart. You become sad. Perhaps you might even become angry that Daaji got angry on me. Versus if you play cricket and you enjoy each other's company, you say, wow, Daaji is great, he's playing cricket with me. You'll have different feelings. So these feelings, they remain in our subtle bodies. If you're angry, it settles down on the fire chakra, Agni chakra, as Babuji says. If you become very fearful of someone, those vibrations will settle down on water point. Things like that, you see. If you are obsessed with someone, that I must be friendly with so and so, it will also have an effect on the point B. Suppose, oh, I don't have a phone, my father doesn't give me the phone, he doesn't buy me this phone, he's so cheap and he's so miserly, and that will affect your point A. Now you're 12-year-old, but as you commence your journey in Sahaj Marg, one day you'll realize how these emotions, the energy created by these emotions, settle down on various chakras. And they have their impact. And there are these impacts end up creating this complexity or the web of complexities. And that determines our future. How we react based on these complexities. Bad experience that you had with someone. And then again, similar bad experience with someone. And it continues like that. Then you stop. What happens then? The consequences of one after the other impact of not trusting. Then you'll simply stop trusting people and you'll close down yourself. And that creates more problems. So, Sahaj Marg has this fantastic system of cleaning. See, that every evening when we clean ourselves, we remove this baggage, we remove this complex network of energies settling on various chakras. This is the most brilliant thing Sahaj Marg can offer. This is Babuji's Maharaj's research. Okay. This practice was not there. The ideas were there during Lalaji Maharaj's time, but not so simple and not so systematic. It was Babuji who invented this systematic method of cleaning, not only general cleaning, but also specific cleaning. This tons and tons of cleaning methods are there in this new book. We have those 4 volumes published, autobiography of Babuji Maharaj. It is under this title called Whispers from Brighter World by Lalaji. See? Because it was Lalaji who was sending, not only Lalaji, but then there were other players like Swami Vivekananda, Lord Krishna, Lord Buddha, Guru Nanak, and so many other great saints who communicated with Babuji Maharaj. And they exchanged various ideas of various techniques of meditation, various techniques of cleaning, specific cleaning, what to do when you have a certain disease, kinds of qualities abhyasis should have. So all those things are very well in detail. I think you should take advantage of this book. If you want to read some books, only few books from Sahaj Marg literature, stick to these 4 volumes. Those volumes will change your life. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making a sales speech. You can borrow a book and read just 2-3 pages and see how it changes your spiritual condition. When you're When you feel that, yes, it's really good, then you end up investing. Back to Manav.
Okay, so the next question is, a whisper from Babuji says the first quarter of the century will see a lot of destruction. We are already witnessing a painful loss of lives of the dear ones around. In these very painful situations and times, we are finding it a challenge to apply Babuji's maxim that accept miseries as divine blessings for your own good and be thankful. So, could you please help us deal with this?
Are you really miserable? Then you don't know misery. If you think what we are going through now is a misery, of course, many families have lost family members. They have lost a lot of health, a lot of investment. But to me, as I see, this is just a glimpse of misery. Worse is yet to come. I'm not trying to scare you, but think over it. How was the life in India at least 70 years back or 60 years back? And if you happen to go back and live that life which was 60 years back or 70 years back, you will say you are living in a stone age. Nevertheless, people did live then and they were happier. We have been spoiled, thoroughly spoiled. Even little bit of inconvenience and you say, oh my God, I'm feeling so miserable. Your phone is not working, your battery is discharged, and as if the hell is lost, let loose in your life. This is the situation today. Every little thing troubles you. One day I was conducting a satsang in a new meditation hall prepared by one of Vyasi in Maharashtra. And they wanted me to inaugurate that hall. So I said, why not? I was trying to cut the ribbon. I couldn't cut the ribbon. That scissor was blunt. Anyway, by a lot of trial, we did manage to pull it out and then ribbon was cut. We meditated. During the meditation, this idea occurred to me that why? Then the idea further took me to this belief that, whenever you overuse things, it becomes blunt. Our life also has two parts, like that scissor. Painful part and happy part. Whenever we overuse the happy part of our life, we overuse this happy part and we rarely think about painful part of our life. Painful part, we don't even visit with our thoughts. So it remains very sharp. The pleasant part, it is always overused. It remains blunt. So even little happiness doesn't make you happy because you are so blunt with that happiness. You want something more and more, more and more, more exciting. That's where we are heading towards. Nothing will make you happy. One time will come, even God comes to you, you'll say, no, I don't want God. What am I going to do with God? Every little thing troubles today, everyone. I mean, I'm not just talking of youth. Even old fogies also, they have trouble. Oh no, my maid did not come. Or so my driver did not show up. Big deal. Suppose you have misery, something is going wrong in your life. What choices do you have anyway? Do you have any better choice? When misery is the first thing a wise person would do is take a breath, deep breath, accept it, that I have a problem. Only when you have a problem and brood over it, solution will come. But you fight with your miseries and, raise a hell against your wife. You did not make me tea. And you keep shouting for small things like that that makes you miserable. No. Take a pause, make a tea yourself and serve it to her. That's the best solution. Many things like that. If you don't accept the misery, it is not going to change. Moment you accept the misery, some solution will come. You become wiser in the process. And Babuji says, not only accept your misery, Babuji says, accept with cheerfulness. And if you become cheerful, then nothing in this world can affect you. Nothing whatsoever. And that is the true state of a bhakta. Bhakta is who? जो ईश्वर को भोगता है वो भक्ता है. Not these miseries and not these pleasures. They don't touch a bhakta. He accepts whatsoever I am going through, it's prasadam. I accept with joy. I accept with love. I accept with gratefulness. Even this idea of accepting will not be there in a great bhakta. He just go through it, that's all. He will not say, I'm grateful to you, God. No, even this much will not be there. Because it's so natural, you see. He's not accepting things out of courtesy or choicelessness. He accepts because that is the nature of a bhakta, to accept things with love. He doesn't make noise. That I received such a beautiful gift, he put me in a central region. He doesn't make a noise like that. And when he suffers, because he lost his wife or lost his mother, he also accepts that. What could he do? Accept acceptance. So Sahajbad also you can say it's a way that teaches us how to accept. Accepting things cheerfully. And one day would come where you'll forget this cheerfulness also. You accept, that's all. That is simplicity. Kya time ho gaya? Okay. Yeah, long way to translate further. So 3 sessions are over. I wish they were not, but we have to. And hopefully see you pretty soon. We'll re-energize the whole program and we'll try to do better next time. Thank you. Thank you. And you all enjoy the rest of Telugu session.
Thank you for everything, Master. Thank you. Thanks a lot.